Welcome, one and all, to the ignorant and the sophisticated and the deeply intelligent to the stupid. We are here once again for...
You, Scaler.
What was that?
You tell them, Scaler.
We are here once again for... Welcome to another episode of If You Condone This Shit, They're Gonna Own Your Ship. Today's episode is Season 3, Episode 12. On September 8th, 2024. Okay, we're just about 50 days away from the election. So that gives me a lead in to the debate this week.
That's going to be...
Okay, give me your assessment there.
It's going to be a shit shot. They ain't gonna be talking about the fucking topics with the American people really want to hear. They're gonna be saying, "Well, you didn't do this. You didn't do that. You didn't do that. You ain't black. You ain't this. You the criminals. You the old lad."
Well, you cannot. The obvious as. You cannot walk away from him, and he is a criminal. So even though he got a reprieve this week from Judge Mashan to not be sentenced until after the election, so I think that was kind of a bullshit deal. I'm starting to think Mashan's kind of weak as far as that. I believe he's going to sentence his ass to jail, but by the time he does it, if the fucker's elected president, he won't have any power over him, because all he's going to say is supremacy clause and say that the state of New York is interfering with the president. So he may get out of it, and the motherfucker ain't going to live for another 4 years of going to Washington. So that'll be the end of it. He would have escaped justice. And I think that's horrible that any motherfucker should escape justice. But what my take on it is, I think, maybe I'm wrong, I think Kamala Harris is going to clean the fucking floor on him. Because here, it's like Superman and kryptonite. Okay? That's kryptonite is Superman's weakness, right?
Yep.
Well, the thing about Trump is he makes them submissive to him. He'll make everybody get on, bend the knee to him. But Kamala's not going to bend the knee to his ass. And the scared thing, he's afraid of a black woman. He has such deep-seated hatred for a black woman. He's going to tip his hand. And when he tips his hand, she's going to go in with the dagger and cut his fucking throat. See? Now, I may be wrong, but that's my assessment of it. I think that he's going to try to Gish gallop. Of course, we talked about that last week. He's going to try to tell so many lies. He's just going to come out there like a lying machine gun. And and she's going to say, nope. That's bullshit. Or, and go ahead.
They fucking interrupting each other, talking over each other. All this shit going to be.
Well, they're going to cut off the mic when you're finished talking. So the only thing you're going to hear is maybe his lips smacking from a distance, but, they're going to cut off the mic on him. So, he may try. But here's the one thing I want him to try. That bullshit that he pulled on Hillary, the landshark move where he comes up behind her, boom, 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 standing behind him. I wish Kamala goes off there and slap the piss out of him, knock his ass right the fuck out. Get the fuck away from me, motherfucker.
I don't think he can fool with her with that one.
I think he's afraid of her. I think he knows that Kamala's not no joke. I keep telling you that she ain't no joke, I was looking at her, and then they had that, I think it was the New York Times, had a poll saying that Trump was leading. And I said, motherfuck me. The fuck you gonna tell me this motherfucker is leading? You know, if if he is leading, then we need to go look at Dante's Inferno, where it has the gates of hell and the sign that hovers over the gates of hell. You know what it says?
What?
He who enters abandon all hope. So if he's the fucking he's fucking coming in there, I may be like I told you, I might be moving a lot quicker. So anyway, but I just you believe that Kenny, you're kind of a cynic. You know, you're a cynic. You think that it's all the same, but it's not. There's nuances, and what he's talking about is what they call it, ad hominem attacks. So he's trying to attack her for being black. Ain't nobody attacked him from the two different origin stories he's told, that he was, he's German and he's, Swiss or some other shit. Nobody's attacking him on his origin story, And the thing about it is Kamala has all her life she went out with Montel Williams. She dated Willie Brown, and she's married to a white guy now. But she has never denied her existence. So that's that bullshit Gish gallop bullshit. What he does, he throws up flack. And the flack just comes out there so somebody will think something else. And the person with a racist mind is going to go with the race. Oh, yeah, that's right. She, I don't know if she's black. Who gives a fuck? I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what origin story Trump is. All I know is his family is a fucking, except for his brother that died, they're all a fucking bunch of draft dodgers, rich people who came over here and started brothels and shit like that and got into the real estate market. His grandfather was a fucking draft dodger from the German army. He didn't want to fight in the war, so he fucking got on a ship and came to America because they had that opening. Whites coming. Bring you. If you white, you can come here. So who gives a fuck about, I don't even care about that. I'm just stating that if you want to look into origin stories, you can look into origin stories that shows you that his origin story is not a pristine thing. So anyway, you think that they're just going to, hey, and I admit that he may be able to throw up enough flack in there to cause enough confusion with all of his lying. Now the fucking lie, he tells so many lies that you can't believe it. Here's the thing. I always say that's an IQ test. Either you're so fucking dim with it and you'll vote for anybody, just because they're a white person, and you want to be your station in life is dependent on being on top, and you can't have it any other way, or you're just racist. There it is. You either an idiot or you're a racist. So you pick one, because it's definitely an IQ check. And with that, I want to go to the next topic. Did you see that fucking he went to some New York economists, and one of them asked him about that everybody that, the people that are young and raising a family, it's really important for them to have Childcare. And what policies would he push to become, to help people with that? This motherfucker went up the street, 2 doors down, up the block, around and around and around, and never answered the question. And these motherfuckers, I'm going to put a link in the show notes, and any average person, go look at that fucking video and see if that motherfucker answered the question, because he didn't. He started talking about, Marco Rubio and his daughter. Now, who the fuck is his daughter worried about child care? She has a nanny. She's worth millions of dollars. She sold all her fucking swag on QVC and all these places, was selling it, hawking it while she was in the White House. Got all these patents for shit in China. And you think she's worried about child care? She don't give a fuck about child care. She's got so much extra money, and she's married to, what's that fucking, the fucking guy that got $2 billion from Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Kushner. Yeah. So, he's got money, she's got money, and you think they're worried about child care. So why would you even invoke her name? And then the only thing he says, well, child care is important. So he said, and then he comes in and said, well, I should have talked about child care. It is important, but he didn't tell you what he was going to do. Now, let's compare and contrast. Remember, we talked about that Kamala said that she's going to give you a tax credit. Okay? If you have a brand new child, you're going to get a tax credit. So that'll help you.
It's over with what I'm going to get.
Okay. I mean, everything doesn't... There's something for you down the road there, my brother. You don't have to, everything. Every person doesn't get everything. You get a deduction on your taxes every year for a mortgage, and a motherfucker that's living in an apartment don't get shit. So what is he gonna say? What am I gonna get? So there's benefits. There's certain benefits that every person gets. We don't all get it at the same time. When you had children, there was a deduction on your income tax that a motherfucker that was single didn't get either. So you can't say, if you're thinking that every person, every party's got to get equal shares of everything, it would be an impossibility. How would they do that? Okay, so. Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, if you are a young person, I remember when I was young, I was in the Air Force when I had my first child, and and I had used cribs, and I was making that $319 a month that the military was paying me, and so if someone gave me a tax credit that I didn't have to pay, wanted to have a baby but didn't want to follow through with all of it, but she just wanted to hold a baby. I said, okay. Well, she wanted to hold a baby, so she helped mine for 5 years go to school. So, but I treated her amazingly, because what I would do every week, I'd take one day off and hang with my kid and still pay her, So, and if it was a holiday and when everybody was home, she got paid for the holiday. So, yeah, I treated her great. But even back then, I told you I got paid $319 a month in the military, and I was paying $150 a month for child care. So that's half my salary. How was I paying for fucking rent? Of course, I was married. And my wife made 3 times more than I did. So there you go.
That's all you was getting a month in the military?
That's right. $390.
They were feeding you and putting a roof over your head, right?
They wasn't putting a roof over my head. I was living off base, and they gave you what they call a BAQ and BAS, which is they would give you like another $150 for housing and some.
What the fuck is that gonna pay? $150.
Well, that was a long time ago. That's up in the 70s, man. So yeah, you could buy. I rented my first house. I rented my first apartment with something like $300 a month. So but like I said, I had a wife that made 3 times more money than me, so I was able to make it through. But no, I wouldn't have been able to live in that apartment with the money they were giving me. Even with the the BAQ and the BAS that they were giving you. So, you know, and you could always shop at the commissary. And I think back then you could buy a fucking can of SpaghettiOs for 15 cents back then. So, yeah. Anyway, but yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So, and all these economists at the end of this fucking nonsensical screed, they all applauded him. And I thought to myself, the only fucking thing these fucking economists heard, tax cuts for the rich, tax cuts for the rich. That's the only thing they thought about. And I said, isn't this is some shit. These people, I wouldn't have applauded shit. I would have said, what the fuck? I would have been looking around in the crowd and seeing, hey, what you guys smoking? Can I get some? You know, because it must be good because you guys are high. You got something going on in your mind because you just heard this. I want you to go look at it. Look at it's on YouTube. Said Trump talks about Childcare, and it is fucking. It'll blow your mind, man. It will blow your fucking mind. So, anyway, and I said. As I was referring to the last topic, Trump, there was a newscaster that came on, and he, right after he heard it, he says, well, and he was talking to the other newscaster. He said, well, Trump laid down a master class in economics. I said, what the fuck are you talking about? A master class. He said he's talking about the bigger picture of economical and world-class economics, and he made it so that they could understand it. And I said, what the fuck? These motherfuckers, they want, and I guess it's working because there are a bunch of people who will try to parrot that shit, you know? So anyway, if you watch it and you come back and you tell me that, yeah, that was a world class in economics, then I'm going to start fitting you for a straitjacket, Kenny, because there's got to be there's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with you, brother. Something very, very wrong. Okay. And then that came to something came in my mind. You know, you ever did any Shakespeare when you were probably in school? There's something that Shakespeare said. I don't know if it was from The Gentleman from Verona or something like that. I'm sure somebody will correct me. It says, "To thine own self be true," and and as it follows, as the night, the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. So these fuckers have forgotten William Shakespeare trying to say, you know, be true to yourself. Don't fucking lie to yourself, because that's who you're lying to when you're saying this motherfucker pulled off a master class. But hey, there's people out there are saying, hey, you know, that's they drunk the Kool-Aid and they're not going to back down. So hey, all I say is that don't say it to me, because your stock in intelligence will have went down several points once you talking stuff to me, you know. Okay, Next one. Liz Cheney says she's voting for Harris with her father. What do you think about that? Got the Liz Cheney.
What the hell?
Mm-hmm. She's voting for Kamala. She says, in this present time, while she doesn't have to agree with everything, but she thinks it's more important to save the Union, the Constitution, than a party. What say you, Kenny?
What?
What say you? What do you say about that? See?
Liz, that's Dick Cheney's wife, huh?
No, Dick Cheney is her father. Vice President Dick Cheney. Liz Cheney is his daughter, who used to be the representative of Wyoming. Mm-hmm. And Trump got pissed off at her because she did the right thing and was on that October 7th committee and lambasted him about him trying to create a coup. So he made sure. See, that's what I'm telling you. Trump's a bully, and that's what he did. He went and made sure that he primaried her. She'd been running there. She had been running there like a fourth time because I think she took it over from her father because I think he may have been there once before. I don't know. But anyway, she had no problem winning election after election. But, hey, when Trump got in her ass, he put somebody in her place, primaried her ass, and that was the end of Cheney.
I remember that.
You don't remember it?
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay. See, I remember it. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. Let me see here. The podcast of the week. I've got a thing in here about the podcast of the week. And this, remember I told you always ask me, Kenny, so how does this shit, how did all this stuff happen? Why do these people think they can get away with shit? And the podcast of the week is, let me see if I put the name of this podcast of the week, because I think I put a link to it, but I didn't put the name. Master Plan. And I've told you about Jerome Powell's memo and shit like that. That's the name of this podcast. It's Master Plan. And Master Plan. And it was this guy, Jerome Powell was a lawyer for some lobbyist groups in the business. And he wrote a memo on how business could take back their superior edge in the elections by using money, because most people think when you vote, you have the power. Nope, it's the money, the power. So he worked to undermine government, got on the Supreme Court, and he almost handwritten opinions that gave corporations the ability to spend unlimited money in elections. So if you want to figure out how we got here and why people don't listen to their constituents, is the Master Plan created by Mr. Powell. So anyway, that's our podcast of the week. I'm going to put a link in that. Okay, now let's talk about this fucking the father of the suspected shooter who gunned down 2 classmates and 2 teachers in Georgia this week has been arrested, authorities say. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation wrote on X that Colin Gray, father of the 14-year-old suspect, Colt Gray, faced 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children in connection with the shooting of the Appalachia high school. Okay, what's your opinion?
He bought the gun for the son, huh?
That's right.
What, the son was getting bullied or some shit? What? Why he went off?
Okay, I want you to, this is your homework for this week. Go look at the picture of the people who got killed. The kid who did it was white, 14-year-old white kid, and the 2 kids he killed looks like one was black and one was Hispanic. So, there might be a racial component in here, and that's going to be one of our discussion if we make it down to the page, is this pathetic thought process that white people believe that they're being discriminated against. So, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I used to go to high school, and I had big brothers, and they were all famous in high school. I'm in the middle. So I wasn't like them, and they wasn't like me. But, I used to get beat all the time. I come home from school, motherfuckers would try to jump on me. Every day I walk out of school, some motherfucker wanted to jump on me.
Oh, been bullied too?
Yeah, I got bullied too.
Me too, bro. I get bullied all the time.
Yeah, well, we had guns. My father had guns. You know that. So never once did I ever think about getting a fucking gun and killing some motherfucker, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about merciless. I mean, the fucking kids, you know how, you remember high school, and well, this is junior high school. High school, I got to be a little bit more tougher, you know? But, and junior high school, I'd come out of fucking school, and these motherfuckers would be the crowd. You know how the crowd, they were taking bets on me getting my ass whooped. You know?
Real?
Yeah, shit. You know, they would come in. They had to bring in some motherfuckers from high school to fight me. You know, because a lot of times I would punch the shit out of them. I had a buddy of mine. His name was Sarge. He was a big old football player. And one time I was getting my ass beat there, and Sarge pulled up, and I back into some motherfucker, and there's Sarge sitting there throwing down the fucking blows side by side. He said, "Well, I didn't have nothing to do, so I decided to sit here and help defend you." So here's me and Sarge. We're punching it out, you know. So. And so they had to go from the minor league team. They had to go to get somebody from a high school to come and beat my ass. But every day, you know, they'd have somebody out there to try to beat my ass. And you know the reason why they wanted to beat my ass? Because I was walking home from school, and I had curly hair, and which was an oddity, and there was two large girls that always liked to comb my hair. And I liked them. So they would sit there, "Can I comb your hair?" I'd say, "Oh, sure. They comb my fucking hair." And, you know, in junior high school, you'll take any kind of attention from a woman. So anyway, So they were walking home from school, and this fucking bully motherfucker punched one of them. And I said, "Man, don't be hitting no girl." And that's how I got into it, Kenny, for sticking up, doing the right thing. So they want to make sure I get my ass whooped every day. So at least the girl got to go home without getting her ass kicked anymore. But yeah, I got my ass kicked anyway. But I didn't kill anybody, Kenny. Not one. They're all alive today, and none of them got killed. So why is it that some kid thinks that it's right for him to go up, even if he had an AR-15 or whatever the case? But here's the crux of that. The fucking FBI, a year before this happened, he had been making fucking statements. "I'm going to come down here and kill everybody." And the FBI went and talked to him and his father. Now, his dumbass father went on Christmas time and bought him an AR-15. Nothing. All AR-15 is a killing machine.
Yep.
You know, it's a fucking killing machine. That's all it's designed to do. What other purpose does it have? It's not cheap enough to shoot as a target shoot. If you wanted target shoot, you get them a Ruger 10. You know, and put those 22 bullets, you know, you can shoot all day for $10, but not with a 223. It's 20 bullets costs about $6. So, you know, it's expensive to shoot, and it's the purpose of it. It's not for hunting. It's for killing. And it's not even for home protection, because if you live in a stucco house, it'll go through 3 or 4 walls, kill 3 or 4 of your neighbors before it slows down. You know, it's a killing machine. It has no purpose. I hate that police departments get it. You know, I worked in the airport once, and I had some classes with the police, and they said, "Well, you know, if we get a terrorist here, we're going to, will catch the terrorists, and we have these AR-15s, or, to keep them pinned down until, health arrives. I said, what the fuck? How many planes are you going to kill? How many people are you going to kill in planes shooting an AR-15 at a crowded airport? There's nothing going to stop an AR-15 bullet. It'll go through an aluminum plane. It'll go through walls. It'll go through chairs. What are you doing? What thought process went into buying that? They just wanted one because that and one of the effective things, it creates wounded people. It hits you, and usually you're not going to respond after you get hit with it, But anyway, I digress on that matter. So what do you think? Do you think that was a good call by the prosecutor to charge him?
The father?
The father.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Well, we're both fathers, and we know that, I wouldn't, my kid was 14. I would surely not give them a weapon, because here's the thing. Why don't we hold children responsible for what they do? Because they got immature brains. Their brains ain't ready yet. So why would you give them something that requires adult level thought process to hold and own? Now, Kenny, I have one. I have a couple,
You got
Yeah, I got a couple of motherfuckers. They locked in a safe and they ain't going nowhere, They didn't even got bullets in them, They're for fun. And the only way I can afford them is because I can reload the bullets. Okay? That's the only way I can afford them motherfuckers. So, but, they were fun, and, and I had them when I was in the military. So, it's just a continuation of being from when I was in the military. But to me, if they outlawed those motherfuckers, it wouldn't hurt me a bit, because the fact of the matter is, when you look at it in a sober light, what purpose that it holds. Now, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you got a farm and some motherfuckers, a zombie apocalypse comes there, yeah, it'd probably be good for you. But I can't find any other way that you would need one, Like I say, It's not a defense weapon, and it's a scare weapon. If you got that motherfucker pointing at somebody's coming on your property, and you point an AR-15, you watch them back. They back the fuck up, baby. So, yeah, I can see that as a form of intimidation. But I also have to look at what my neighbors are, because if I shoot that motherfucker, it'll tell you it has a mile range. Okay, that motherfucking bullet will go for a mile before it slows down. So how many houses in a mile have I risked the people accidentally doing it, Mm-hmm. Okay. But anyway, I thought that was something that should be explored. Okay. We were talking a little bit. You were talking about policy, and I saw this article about Vice President Harris' campaign unveiled an ad Tuesday that highlighted her plan on lower housing costs and an end to housing shortage, with the Democratic nominee putting a personal spin upon the proposal. The 1-minute ad, titled Full House, is narrated by Harris and focuses on her housing plan in the lens of her background. And she states in the commercial, "For most of my childhood, we were renters." Harris said in the video, "My mother saved for well over a decade to buy a home. I was a teenager when that day finally came, and I remember so well how excited she was." So that's a policy, Kenny. You said, oh, there's no policy, but that's a policy, because she's going to work to get 3 million new houses made, giving subsidies to builders, helping people first-time homebuyer. And I know what you're going to say. Well, what about me? Well, you already got yours, but I'm sure there'll be some cream to fall on in there, because what happens when you sell your house, then you have people who will be a first-time home buyer who'll have $25,000 of down payment, would make them qualified to buy your house. You see how that works, Skinny?
Crazy, man.
Yeah. So, that's, and I can remember this too, Kenny. My mother and father only had one fucking house in their lifetime. I've had 3 in my fucking lifetime. There are 3 homes in my life. I'm an exception to the rule, and I think my sister's owned 3, and I think her kids have owned 2 or 3. But most people only buy one house. Okay, that becomes your home. You stay there. Now, I bought a small townhouse because I was starting out, and I didn't need much more than that. Then I bought a mid-sized house, and then I bought the house I have now. It's a 4-bedroom house, so and it's going like a fifth of an acre, which is way too much fucking property. So, because you got to take care of the fucking property. Anyway, whatever the case may be, I know how homeowner, that was I could see, I can still remember. I think I was 8 years old, Kenny, and I remember the negotiations my father was going through to get that house. How he fought to get the mineral rights to that house. I had never even heard of mineral rights on a house.
Me neither. I still ain't never heard of this. Mineral rights?
He was fucking fighting the mineral rights. And I'd give you an indication. I think the house was like $30,000 back in the day. This is in the low 70s. And that shows you how you say there ain't no improvement. But look at me. My father, just like Kamala's mother, saved for years to get that house. He was a renter for years, right? And then he got a chance to buy a house. He got, and see, for years, he was a veteran. He couldn't even use the VA loan. They wouldn't even let him use the fucking VA loan. I think they just now put scrutiny when he bought that. They just now put scrutiny on the VA for him to be able to use the VA loan. But before that, he couldn't even use the fucking VA loan because the VA process was only for white veterans, not for black veterans. You fucking serve your country, you didn't get shit, So anyway.
Military too?
Huh?
Your dad was in the military?
Sure, yeah. You never saw the picture of him at camp when he was in the military?
No, what he was in the army?
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, so he was a veteran. So, but what I'm saying, he got his house in the low 70s. I bought my first house in 79. So, there you go. So, in less than a generation, I was able to, no. He bought his house in the 60s. It was I remember Bobby Kennedy dying when we were coming into that house. We were in a duplex, and Bobby, I remember I told you that my father came in the room and said that they had shot another Kennedy, and Bobby Kennedy was shot, and I came home from school and he had died. And then we were moving right then and there. So it's 1968, 1969, because I can remember my mom had a Mustang. This is some vivid shit. She had a Mustang, like a 1965 Mustang, and she had a Bobby Kennedy bumper sticker on it. But we had just moved into that fucking house. So 1968, and less than 11 years, I had my house. So that shows you there's a progression. It doesn't come in a storm, and it's not like Sabu. snaps his fingers and everything changes, but it progressively changes. So, so I got my first house and in 1979, and I think I bought my next house in 1986. So there you go. And then I bought the last house in 1989. So there you go. And in less than from the first house to the last house was only 10 years. So anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, that when the government wasn't working against black people, we could do a lot of stuff. So my father got his VA. But anyway, he was doing mineral rights. But and here's, that they were pumping oil. You remember that you go to the liquor store down the street and they were pumping oil over there across the street from the liquor store.
Uh-huh.
My mother and father were getting a check for them. And we still get a check from the fucking oil company. And my father was smart enough to fight for that. His first home, he was fighting to get the mineral rights. So the house was $30,000. And they said, well, they wanted to keep the mineral rights. And my father said, no, I'm not going to buy it without the mineral rights. And they said, okay, if you want the mineral rights, it'll cost you $5,000 extra dollars. So he paid the $5,000 extra dollars to get the mineral rights for that house. So you see.
So every house around there was getting a check then?
No. It was only, my father was talking to the neighbors, and some of the old neighbors had it, but when they sold the house, you could keep the mineral rights, because when we sold that house, we kept the mineral rights. Uh-huh. Because I told him, I said, well, Pops fought real hard for this fucking mineral rights. We should keep them. So we keep them. But in the heyday, shit, that motherfucking mineral rights was paying for the mortgage on that house.
Yeah?
Yeah. The closer you are to that oil well, the more they pay you, because it's more, the field is directly underneath your house. So anyway, so he worked to do that. That's what I'm saying. So I can understand Kamala's, we went all around the corner. We almost pulled the Trump, but at least it made sense, because it's important. The biggest creator of wealth in America for the middle class, it's not their job, it's their home. Okay? You get a home, you got something that appreciates. Everything you own other than that depreciates, unless you buy some gold or something like that, or you find some type of Rembrandt that you bought at a garage sale or some shit like that. No, everything in your life depreciates except a home. So that lets you into what they call it, diagnostic wealth. So you can leave something to your children. Like my mother, when my mother passed away, she left me $40,000 from life insurance, and then we sold the house. There's another $50,000. So there you go. But some people don't get shit. Their mom and pops didn't leave them shit because they were renters, or you just got what was in the house,
Yeah.
So, this is like the key to the middle class. This is key to being diagnostic wealth, a dynasty, and I try to call it a dynasty of wealth. So it continues to go. It feeds another generation. So if you're a renter, it doesn't feed anything. They just clean you up, and clean out your body out of that fucking house and rent it to another motherfucker at a higher rate. But if you own something, you can leave something, So anyway, so what's your thought process of that? Because I just showed you now that was a policy. What do you think, Kenny?
I didn't look at it that way, but once you put that story behind it, now I see what you mean,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what that's the true dynamic of being a human being. We correlate thoughts with stories. See, And that was an important thing. And when I was buying a house, and I would sit down there, and in Arizona, you don't get the mineral rights. When the fucking people sell the land, they fucking sell the mineral rights. But that house was made in the 1800s, so they did have mineral rights, you know.
Yeah.
You bought the land, you bought it, and that was it, okay? So when I bought my house, I sat down there and said, well, let's talk about the mineral rights. Oh, shit. Builder said, no, man, fucking mineral rights was sold before this land was sold. The farmer who owned the land wasn't no stoop. He kept the mineral rights. So, you know, the only thing that you kept in Arizona was the water rights, because water was important, and they had groundwater. So they let the homes keep the groundwater. And then when the municipalities, that you would sign over your water rights to them, and they would have the agreement to keep your water, keep you in water. But you didn't have to do that. So anyway, but that's the water rights was the only thing that wasn't lost in the mineral rights fight. So, okay. So Kamala's strategy is going to be the former prosecutor versus the criminal. And what do you think about that strategy? Do you think it's something that's going to win her votes, or is that something that you would think
might hinder?
Will the people get their head around it?
Yeah.
See, because I think it's something. I think if she can hit a couple of body blows, if she can get a couple of body blows and talk about him being a criminal, you know, and he's going to say, oh, it's all, you know, because here's the thing. That fucking guy has been through several grand juries. A grand jury in Washington indicted him. Two grand juries in New York indicted him. Grand jury in Georgia indicted him. So one of the things is kind of like a friend of mine's who got married twice and was surprised that every one of his marriages was fucked up. And then, you know, he came into me, he said, hey, man, you know what I've been thinking? I said, what, man? He says, if everybody I got married to can't be that fucked up, sometimes I got to look at myself in the mirror. So that's what Trump needs to start looking at, the man in the mirror. See, because you can sit up here and say, oh, yeah, he's the most, what did he say? He says he's the most persecuted president in American history. And he said, I've been treated worse than Lincoln. Let me see here. Lincoln, because he got elected, they started a civil war and they killed him. So what thought process? This guy doesn't even live in a realm of reality. So do you think Trump's being attacked more than Lincoln?
Hell no.
I mean, a man was killed. So, but he's trying to say that, no, he's the most. See, and that's the thing. That's what I want to talk about, is that there's these people coming up here, and there's a group of people that are out there, and they're white people, and they're always taught that they're being discriminated against. And I just want to skip to the end and tell you something. Your ass is not being discriminated against, because I want to ask you the fundamental question. We have done this on this podcast. It says, what neighborhood did you go to and they told you that you wasn't welcome in? What store frisked you when you walked in? Were you ever denied a seat at a counter, a lunch counter? Were you ever attacked because of your race? Were you ever denied an education because of your race? Were you ever, did the government set up a structure to deny you education, housing, and general equity in the law. And I want you to tell me the law. And then these ignorant fucks can't come up with anything except that they were treated bad by somebody. Fuck. I've been treated bad.
If they do treat them bad.
What was that?
It'd be their own people treating them bad if they treat them bad.
That's it. You're going to say that you've been discriminated against, but they have not. Yeah, they feel it. See, Kenny? They feel it. They feel that they've been discriminated. I feel I've been, like one of my friends told me, the white man's the most discriminated person in my. I say, how? I said, I feel it. I mean, I can't do anything. I can't say anything. So what do you mean? What can't you do? What can't you say? Well, I can't say what I want to say. So you can't call nobody the N-word, or you can't talk shit to a woman and call her a bitch and everything, or go to work and say whatever you feel, which mostly no one ever was able to do. But you believe that that's infringing on your rights because you can't do it anymore. You don't get jobs. You don't get to, like Michelle said, you don't get to fail upward anymore. Sometimes it's on the ability for you to do the job. You know?
Mm-hmm.
You might have to be able to do the job. You might have to be able to know something to do the job, you know? So it's not like it used to be where, depending on your station in life, if you were like, an example is like if you go down to Wall Street and your father was a Wall Street trader and he had a friend at, Lehman Brothers, and he wanted to get you in there. He said, well, can you get my son in? And they'll say, well, depending on your relationship with him, you might start in the mail room, or you might start as a trainee on the floor, but you got to start, you see? And a black kid to go in there, and they'll say, well, okay, there's a mop over there. There's cleaning. Okay, we'll make you a security guard. So you see, they don't see that. They don't see how fucked up that system was. They only see that they can't do it anymore. Well, fuck, we got to be equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion. We don't want that. We don't want diversity because we have to share something. Why can't it be the white man's domain? Huh? Why can't we? We built everything, and you didn't build shit, buddy. Now you built it off of the backs of other motherfuckers. Okay? The railroad you built, the Chinese built it. The fucking plantations you made your billions on, the fucking black man built it. You know? The land you stole from the Indians, it was their fucking land. So what did you create? Just a structure. You
create even.
Yeah,
even.
That's right. It's thievery. Okay. And then they'll justify it anyway. I had a friend of mine, all over the world, people have been doing that. I said, oh, really?
That don't make it right.
Yeah, that don't make it right just because you did it, you know?
Wrong, brother.
Yeah, see, that's that don't make it right because somebody could do it, you know? It's just like if you're a big, powerful, you're a big guy, Kenny. Do you think you can go into a neighborhood in fucking Las Vegas and go up to a guy's door and say, well, I'm the big motherfucker here, so I think I ought to take your house? And they'd say, that's not right.
That'd be dumb of me, bro, because you ain't going to heaven.
Yeah, well, because that's the same logic they want to use. They say, oh, well, we had the best weapons, and we had this, and we had that. No.
And if you didn't have the weapons, what would you be doing?
Yeah, you get your ass kicked, you know? So, when the whole thing about it is that they don't want to let go of the bullshit. They had 100 years of fucking apart. They freed the slaves, and they 1860s, and then they've been mad about fucking everything in America is driven by segregation and racism. And I know you don't want to believe, you may not believe that, Kenny, but if you look at everything that's made in America, every fortune that's made in America has got somebody fucking some black person, some Oriental, some Hispanic. I was I was reading an article about, and I think we brought this up before in the podcast, the Treaty of Hidalgo, Guadalupe Hidalgo was the name of the treaty. That was what, like I have all these friends that come from Texas, and they real proud of fucking Texas. But, and I always tell them, I said, well, I have got very much use for Texas. And what do you mean? That's a very proud state. They fought the Mexicans. I said, what was they fighting them for? We were fighting them to have our own state. I said, no, you wasn't. The Mexicans said, we're not going to allow slavery in our country anymore. And that is why Texas fought the Mexican-American War. And, of course, the other races came to their defense. Well, we can't let them outlaw slavery. So all that bullshit of Daniel Boone and all these racist motherfuckers and Sam Houston and all these other racist motherfuckers, the reason is they were all racist motherfuckers. And my friend who was born in Texas said, well, you don't understand. I said, I don't have to understand. I know history. I said, and then you signed a fucking treaty that you wouldn't wipe your ass on, because what you did after you told all of the Mexicans who were living in Texas, that was their land before you took the motherfucker, you told them, say, oh, well, we're going to sign a treaty, and all of the people that are here that own land, they're going to have their land rights respected. And that was the reason for the end of the war. So they signed this treaty, and then I fucking look in the fucking history books, and you can look it up. They had, what about the Texas Ranger, this fucking bullshit that, what's his name? What's the fucking karate man? You remember him?
Chuck Norris?
Chuck Norris, yeah, he elevated the Ranger, Texas Ranger. There's a fucking another horrible fucking group of people, because they used to go into fucking areas where the Mexicans owned the fucking land, and they go out and massacre all of the people. The Texas Rangers. So don't tell me shit about Texas, because you're like the ass. You in Louisiana are the ass of the United States. Everything about you is a fucking ass. Do you know that Texas has no zoning laws? You know what a zoning law is, don't you there, Kenny?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they tell you what you can put in the community and stuff. Well, they don't have any of that. So you can put a fucking dangerous chemical company right next to your fucking house and be polluted. So when they have a flood, all the fucking chemicals gets in the soil, and you can't live in your fucking house anymore.
Ain't they got some people going through that shit right now?
Yeah.
I think it's in Texas. Yeah.
Of course it's in Texas. Shit. So why wouldn't it be in Texas? These motherfuckers, and then some people try to tell, I'm a born and bred Texas. So all you're telling me is you the product of a slaver. That's all you are, is a product of a slaver. And you don't, you're trying to, there's always somebody trying to whitewash the past and tell you that something happened that didn't happen, Well, like I had a friend, and I don't think that he was disingenuous, but he was telling me, I thought racism ended in the 60s. I said, well, that hadn't been my experience, because the racism still exists, And so I know racism still exists, because, there's people out there who, like I said, in my own neighborhood, they'll say I don't belong. And these motherfuckers, where they live today, when I moved in there, it was a fucking cornfield. They didn't even exist there. I've been there before them. And then they're going to have the audacity to tell me that I don't belong in this neighborhood.
Well,
when I've been here for 30-something years. But no, I don't belong here. So, but you see, they're from somewhere else. And where they from was another racist place. And because of the, what they call it, redlining, the segregation that the United States government participated in, and the structural racism that kept us down, that they didn't have to deal with any black people. So that to their mind, you don't belong because I didn't see anybody before,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen you before I moved here. And what happened to my neighborhood? No, see, this is my neighborhood because I was here first. You're just some fucking Johnny come lately. And you're trying to tell me why, that I don't belong here, Now, if you want to buy me out of my house, you can pay me twice the price and I'll leave, But before that, shut the fuck up. Anyway, Kenny, look at here. We've already put a whole hour into this shit. We went off the beating pad. But for your homework next week, look at Trump's... I'm going to ask you a question next week about
the debate.
About the debate and about Trump's fucking question on childcare. Now, this is his policy. Now, I think Kamala's policy, I'm just showing, because I could go through a whole bunch of them, but I don't want this to be the Kamala Harris show. What I want to do is just show a contrast between the two. And one of the things is hers is just as I told you about dynastic wealth. She wants to produce that in the middle class. And there are people out there that can't afford a fucking house. If you're starting off today, they've already saddled you with student loan debt. If you're trying to start a family, okay, you get married, and you've only just begun, all those great songs, and you're going to start off in, just say you start off with minimum, a good paycheck. Well, you're paying back your fucking student loan if you went to college. Now you got to buy a house. Now they've got rents, these fucking, and that's another thing she said. She's going to stop this collusion by landlords who are sitting up here jacking up these people from other countries, some from China, some of them are hedge funds, and some of this other shit that are coming into neighborhoods and buying up percentage. And you probably get the same call. Every week I get a person, oh, do you want to sell your house? Because they're hedge funds. They're trying, first of all, they're going to try to get you for nothing. They hope that you're having trouble making the payments so they can downgrade, take about $50,000 of equity out of your house and catch you in with your tits in a ringer. Okay, where tits in the ringer came from? You ever seen those old fucking laundry machines where they got the little barrel that shakes back and forth, and then you pull the clothes out of the barrel and there's a ringer right there. There's two rollers, and you put your clothes in there and you run this crank and your clothes go through and they wring out the clothes and then you hang them out to dry. Okay. But if you got too close and you're a woman, you got your tits in the wringer. See? Anyway, see, you learned something from me. But anyway, that's what I'm trying to say is that, but what she's trying to do is stop stuff like that, where these make it just like you said. You came up with it. You came up with policy. You said, why is it anybody can come in the United States and buy houses and own shit, own land in the United States, and go back to their country and own shit, and we can't go to their country and own nothing?
Nothing.
Okay, see. and then they'll, if they're millionaires, let's say you're a prince from Saudi Arabia and you get like $30 billion and you want to invest your money into a good investment, you come here and buy real estate. You can buy up, 200-300 houses, and all they're going to do is appreciate, and my whole life, houses only went down 2 times in my whole life. That was in the 2008 crash. And I think the other time was about not 2000, it was 1985 or something. They had an interest rate hike or something. Interest rates started going away. But those are the only time when property went down. Other than that, that shit keeps going up. So, it's and it's real estate, because if you can't sell it, you can always rent it out and get return from your investment. So that's what I'm talking about. These motherfuckers are colluding, and now they had this computer system that colludes and takes out the middleman, saying, well, they're not sitting in a smoky room saying, oh, you're going to get this. This computer sits up there and say, oh, well, we're jacking up the price over here. And, we say that the rents are going for $600, but if we get like 30% of the market, we can jack up the price here in that area. So if they get 30% of the market and the computer does all the collusion, and they think, oh, well, we're not going to get caught by the government for colluding. So she wants to stop that. So you see, is that not a policy, Kenny? Huh?
Great.
Yeah, but you say she has no policies. But there's a policy right there. She could tell the attorney general to start jumping on these motherfucking hedge funds who are doing this and jacking up the price of rent. Because the rent prices in here, there's people who bought a mortgage 5 years ago in Arizona, and their fucking mortgage payments are $500 less than the rent payment. Now, that ain't right. The fucking the rent payments are going on. I was walking in the mall, and there was this little old lady. She was an old actress, and, she decided to retire in, she was just one of those, what they call character actors. So you see in her background and shit like that. She made a living. But anyway, she was telling me that she lived close to a mall. And the mall was, there's a shitload of apartments. Well, because you're close to the mall, they figure that's premium property. So they start jacking up. So all of them jack it up. And she was telling me that, oh, fuck, she had like $1,500 a month for a studio next to the mall. And I said, ma'am, you could go buy a house for that. She said, well, I don't want a house. I said, well, you're either going to buy it. I said, because if you got a mortgage, they can't jack the only thing's going to go up on a mortgage is the property tax and the impound, the insurance. Other than that, your fucking mortgage ain't going up, So, and that secures people, that mortgage, I tell you one thing about a mortgage. We're one of the only few countries that give you a lifetime mortgage, a mortgage that lasts for 30 years. And the fucking mortgage company won't renegotiate it. I had a friend in Costa Rica. That motherfuckers, they got to renegotiate their mortgage every 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of shit with that? As soon as you make a headway and you've made enough money that you're comfortable, you got to go to the mortgage company and they set the rate and everything, and you got to renegotiate the rate. Now, what kind of shit is that?
Even.
Yeah. See? See, because they don't make policies that protect the people. See? And at least, that 30-year mortgage was invented during the Franklin Roosevelt administration to help people get a leg up in our life. Anyway, that's it, Kenny. So we are done for that, and we're going to go with Die in Vain.
spinning out of control. A never-ending cycle of blood and soul. Families torn apart, children left alone. As they march to the battlefield with hearts of stone. Why are they killing everyone? Is it worth the damage done? Our tears fall like the rain as we watch them die in vain. Bombs exploding, bullets flying all around us. There's no denying the horror of war. The price we pay for our leaders, greed, day after day. Why are they killing everyone? Is it worth the damage done? Our tears fall like the rain as we watch them die in vain.
Take us out, Kenny.
Yeah, I mean, Big Kenny out. If you let them condone your shit, they own your shit.